Hi there, welcome back to the Student StarCraft AI tournament. This week we have got a lot of interesting things, and one of the games which was recommended to me was this game between Ice Labs and Lucas Moravec. And if you're all hoping for an update of the good old Ice Labs, it is, or didn't happen. I'm not saying it is not ever going to happen, but it didn't, so we are waiting to see what kind of goodness dear Lucas has brought into this game for us. And we see a goon range first kind of thing, with a goon playing tag with the scouting SCV, but then thinking the better of it and heading back straight over through, oh well, doing it right. Another scouting SCV is being denied, and there we go, 3 goons on their way to the enemy base. We've got a bunker, and we've got a couple of dead marines. That's unfortunate, and we've got 1 tank, and that means that these goons can only form up a line over here. They are being zoned out by this 1 siege tank, and now another one. So Ice, with the advanced map analyzing features, doesn't really use the high ground, but rather the divide between high and low ground. And these marines are very brave, but also somewhat deadish right now. So did take a goon though, so that's good. And the vulture can't really get out, but it's soon to be a 2 vs 2 base situation. And that's going to be, well, it's going to be well, unless these goons do get killed rather a lot by these tanks. And that's really the trade-off at the moment. Some goons do stray into the range of the siege tanks, and Ice keeps throwing vultures and marines away at stray goons. This one's going to die though, so Ice not getting too bad a deal at the moment. Only got 1 machine shop, so the tank count is going to be rather limited for the time being. But here comes some more infrastructure, and this is an observer and not a 3rd base. So let's see how this is going to play out. So Ice Labs only got 10 army supply, mainly in these 4 tanks. Bunker appears to be empty. That's really ballsy, because these goons could do some kind of push. 3rd base now up, and we've got all kinds of robo facility and stuff, and that's good. We've got an observer coming over, and the observer is going to observe what? Well, a bit of a stalemate, and Ice's tank count is only increasing rather slowly. 2nd machine shop being constructed. This will be a factory, I think, perhaps. Ice's army is very low. That's mainly tanks and a vulture and 1 marine or something like that. Oh, and there are marines. Oh, and a couple of zealots are dropped right on the tanks, and that moment is picked by Lucas to push in, and some more zealots are being picked up. And that was a serious blow to the tank line. These tanks took such a lot of damage, and of course couldn't really, because they're on siege, they couldn't really help with fighting off all these Protoss units. Now the 3rd base is up and running. Main base for Ice still got a lot of use in it. And here is another drop. 2 tanks fall again. The tanks on siege, and this tank just lives. Will there be more? Perhaps 1 shuttle, 2 zealots, and it gets dropped and undropped all the time. And I don't know why it's like that, but here it comes again. So immediately the tanks de-siege. 1 tank will die, the 2nd tank will die as well, and the 3rd tank will take a lot of damage. And now the DTs are in among the turrets, but they don't really have the heart at this point. But there is only 1 tank left, and there are 2 zealots with the repair and the vulture. Oh, and the tank just dies. So Ice under a lot of pressure. No 4th base yet for Lucas, but will there be? Here comes a probe, and it is going to mine. So no, for the time being, Ice is okay, but here is another shuttle, this time with a Reaver, and it's going to work on the economy in the main base, which is already rather depleted. Ice throwing up a couple of more turrets, which is good, but you can see a lot of... oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Again, the tanks get killed, and now this Reaver shuttle is doing a lot of damage. Look at all the SCVs killed, and oh, and a storm as well. So Lucas is really doing its utmost in this game, and these marines are rather be careful because of the storm. Oh, they dodged the storm, but Lucas is right on top of this game, and every 2nd building of Ice seems to be burning. That's really something. Could have taken a 4th, could have done some more with macro, but as you can see, macro isn't lacking. Here is the 4th base. And still that shuttle with Reaver is in the main doing a lot of damage. And you can see where ice is going to go this game. It's not going anywhere. The mining has completely stopped. There are 2 SCVs mining gas, now going back to minerals, but oh, perhaps that one just brought its payload back home, but that was that. And Lucas is taking the game by storm. Nice mechanic with dropping Zealots on the tanks. That's very well done, and I'm going to go into the next game, which is another recommendation. It's Killa Bot versus Lucas Berg. And that may be a coincidence or not, we'll go and have to find out. Killa Bot, of course, is a little bit better, I would say, than Ice Labs is, so this game might be a little more interesting. Here comes a scouting probe. And the scouting probe sees eggs, and here comes, I think, a hatch. Yes, there we go. So, looks to be some kind of a forge fast expand, 1 cannon, and of course the spawning pool, and the natural will soon be up and running as well. So, oh, that's a nice SimCity. You can just make your way out of here. This cannon is relatively well protected, and then the next. So, SimCity-wise, this is awfully clever, and we must give Lucas credit for that. But here come the Zerglings, and there are quite a bit of Zerglings. There is a second cannon to be, and this cannon in the front... Oh, this cannon in the rear is just going to... Oh, it's not... Oh, but the Zealot right in the nick of time, and by running all the way around, these Zerglings take a lot of hits. And now Killa Bot is on the back foot, because it's only got 3 Zerglings, and there is a Zealot coming up, so now 5 Zerglings. So that's going to be a bit of a tug of war, and Killa Bot's going for gas, but you can see that Lucas has got the economic lead and has got this base well fortified. Has only got 1 gateway though, so it's going to be a while before it can exert any kind of force in the direction of the Zerg. Now Killa has got quite a lot of drones, and I like that. And the third base, wow, with 2 additional hatches. There appears to be some kind of a unit rush imminent, or there's going to be a lot of droning going on. But we must wait just a little bit to find out what it's going to be. While Lucas is going for a Stargate, 2 Stargates actually, well, that's pretty neat. And the spinning cyber core could be +1, and there may be an airplay. So, a handful of Zealots chasing a handful of Zerglings. And now with 1 sunken, I think that Killa Bot is pretty safe for the time being. But here comes a Corsair. And is there any kind of anti-air? Yes, there is a Hydra Den. And there is a lair. But still, the first Overlords are going to fall. And Killa Bot is immediately and quite badly supply blocked. So, were a large-ish land-based army now going to hit, there are a couple of Hydras, not too many, but you can see that Killa Bot is quite badly supply blocked, and these 2 Overlords are going to be found as well, and immediately the second Corsair goes after it as well, and only now, again, supply block. Killa Bot is going to be supply blocked for quite a long time. There are 3 Sunkens, but there are no fighting units, and immediately more Sunkens should be thrown up, or a Spore, or both of them, because Killa Bot has got quite a bit of money, but can't really spend it at the moment, still supply blocked. So, Lucas is doing great, lots of pressure, and now going... Wow, that's a hell of a lot of Corsairs. Good heavens. And the DTs, that's a brilliant strategy, and the DTs clean up the natural in record speed, not even deigning to strike the last 2 drones, and... Wow, Killa Bot still supply blocked. That's so bad. And the Dark Templar have, with the 3 of them, taken down the natural completely. 1 Overlord with a handful of Hydras is trying to bring back the game. The drones are being transferred because the main base is not safe. Is that going to be a Spore? No, it's going to be a Sunken. So this is not going to go well at all. The Corsairs are on the prowl, and look at how many there are. Corsairs followed by Dark Templar, 1 Overlord left. Is there any 1 Overlord over here? No, there isn't at this time. So once this Overlord falls, where are the Dark Templar? The Dark Templar are... well, still one Overlord left, so, but Killa Bot is quite badly supply blocked and hasn't really got the eco to do anything about that. But meanwhile has decided to hit the natural, but there is a Dark Templar, and the Dark Templar is going to leave those Hydras bloody well alone. That is pretty ballsy, but the Dark Templars are in among the workers again, and that means that there is no economy left for 0-1 Overlord, but immediately rather Corsairs, oh, there are such a lot of Corsairs. Last Overlord gets killed, and that was the game, unless this Hydra army takes down the enemy base first. There is a third, workers have been transferred, and the Zerglings tear down the natural hatchery, that's good. And now it's a sort of base race, but there is a lot of DPS and about 10 Dark Templar, and there is no more building for Killa Bot. So these Hydras, they do what they can, they take out the pylons first, but it seems that these Dark Templar are, wow, they've got 10 times the DPS of these Hydras, and on top of that there are many more Protoss buildings, and that was the last building for Killa Bot, and Lucas wins again. Wow. Pretty decent game, I must say. So, next game up, also a recommendation, and I think that, let's hover over the Haupan, let's look at what kind of replays we've still got. I've got 2 more replays of newer bots trying to show their stuff, and of course Haupan doesn't really count as a new bot, but it did get updated, and of course the enemy is Hannes Berg, and Hannes Berg, well, has a unique style of his own. So going for a very quick command center, and Haupan going for a quick bunker, and with a very obnoxious entering and debarking of the bunker at the time, but going for a couple of factories. And Berg is going for a marine train, and this marine train will probably be killed quite expertly by this vulture, and marine train heads back. So now we've got only 2 barracks, this must be another one, and the 4th barrack still in production, so expect nice large fleets of marines, and this vulture is now going to take them out. And going to out-micro a lot of marines, that's going to be pretty painful, but still the marines are there, and more marines are being sent over all the time. Another barracks is nearing completion, and now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 barracks, lots of depots, and even an academy, so lots of pressure being put on Haupan. There is a tank though, and the tank is going to do a lot of damage to these marines, as these marines are not upgraded, have got no medics, and the tank is blocking the ramp, so that might be a complication for Haupan. Now there is a medic, which is good, but still versus 2 tanks and a bunker, I don't really care how many marines you... 2 tanks, 2 bunkers, I don't care how many marines you bring. It's not really going to work, is it? The vultures are getting shot at occasionally, but it's not too bad, and those marines are on move command anyway, so that doesn't really matter. 3rd base nearly done for Berg though, and here comes another barracks, or is another barracks, a starport as well. More barracks being built, and a factory. So Berg is really setting up shop, and a 4th base as well. Wow. How long can you box in Haupan with just plain marines, especially as such a lot of them have been killed by these tank blasts. The Wraith isn't really the ideal weapon to fight a large number of marines, but for the time being it's doing okay. 3rd base up and running, another comsat, so knows... Oh dear, these medics have caught an SCV. I thought, what was that yellow blip doing on the radar, but there it is. And the tanks, they really clear the house. And now it looks like Haupan has got a little bit of a breathing room situation going on. But here we go. Worker-wise, Berg is in a supreme position. And for some reason, while under pressure, Haupan didn't really make as many workers as it could have. The eBay is really suffering and is going to burn down. And now these marines in sufficient numbers with the medics, oh, and their own ghosts as well, hello, are really doing damage to the tanks. And that is what Stim marines with medics can do to you. Look at the upgrades. Oh wow, there are upgrades. +1/+1 is done. Oh, +1 is still prepping. Range, Stim. And lockdown is almost done. Cloak, wow, that's really going to be interesting, and more bases being taken. Of course you know where this is going, yes, there it is. That's why the starport is here, and that is why There is a science facility with a covert ops attached. The first nuke is already prepping. Here we go. So I'll have to have a peek at the unit composition, because then you can see... Oh, and a tank got knocked down. There is one nuke. And this is going to be the spot where it will land. These two tanks may be forfeit. Oh, this one just lives. And now here comes the infantry with a... oh dear, oh dear. That's a lot. Oh, and I thought, well, perhaps Haupan had this base. Haupan has got this base, but all the rest is being occupied by Redberg. And Redberg's got a lot of silos flashing. That's good. This vulture is killing the SUV. Good. And now being killed by the SUVs. Not the most efficient fight, but we'll get the job done eventually. 2 vultures, though, a little bit too much of a problem. Infantry-wise, things are... Oh, that was another nuke, but didn't really hit anything. And I ought to keep an eye on what's happening. These floating buildings are very brave, but with all the infantry mulling about, it's not really going to work. And these 2 vultures are really doing the numbers on these SCVs and medics. And a couple of marines are going to be sent, surely. Okay, here they are. To try and remedy the situation. Oh, no, I didn't. Damn. I did it again. Damn. I can't. Okay, well, this game I'll have to... Ooh, that was another nuke. Then we killed 1 ghost. But you can see with 60 marines and almost 40 ghosts, and when they are all retreating, I've got this bad feeling there is going to be a nuke, but... Oh, there was one there. And basically there are nukes going off all over the place, and Redberg's got so many bases, it's building... wow, it's building a lot of stuff. But it's got 2 nukes, so that's good. And there are not enough scans, or Haupan is just not scanning for these ghosts. And the ghosts are taking on siege tanks and sweeping mines, and that's not good. But in the end, I think you know where this game is going. Ooh, that nuke completely missed everything. There is going to be a lot of slaughter in this game, because Hannes Redberg is now about max with 2 nukes. Oh, and the power generators are getting some as well, so that's pretty cool. That one, wait for it. Oh, that was the entire Haupan army almost, and Redberg almost killed this tank, but it's landing a nuke right on top of it, and this Valkyrie had better move the hell out of there. And it looks like Haupan hasn't got any kind of nuke detection, whereas the nuke, here comes the nuke, the Wraith is going to get some as well, and the Valkyrie just lives. And here comes the unholy infantry of Hannes Redberg, and look at it go. The main is mined out for Haupan, the natural is halfway done. 3rd untouched for the time being, that's good. And the Wraith is trying to do what it can, but what can it do? Wow. Redberg really all over the place. He got 1 nuke again, and where is it going to land at? Because there are a handful of units out here, which might be the target. And it's hard to keep an eye on things like that. The Wraiths now get scanned and just get away with their lives, but that's about it. And it's a good thing that Redberg is not building turrets all over the place like Razor likes to do. This Wraith though is very dead as well. So now this Wraith is being set on by the entire might of the infantry corps of Redberg, and Redberg is coming to get something done. Oh, that was a science vessel. Oh, and there is going to be a lot of nuking and minesweeping with infantry units. The tanks siege, but it's too late. There is just too much, and Hannes Redberg is rolling this game. You can see... Oh, well, there are 3 or 4 Valkyries, and the 1 Wraith. It's not going to work. There must be lots of scans, but the units just don't really seem inclined to do anything about it. And that was a really good one. Glad I called that. Oh, and another one in the same location immediately after that. Oh, and that is just BM. And the 3rd one. Redberg is really flipping the lid here. and all the buildings crash into flames, and here comes the infantry. The masses of it are outside of the base, and 2 more floating E-base coming along, but it's not really going to work, is it? So, yes, I think you can see the ending of the game coming up. Berg, oh, having some issues with finding the Wraith, but once it's been found, it's locked down and killed. Oh, good. Good show. So, another one, and it just lives. Might not be enough scans, and oh, there we go. So, Halpan is restarting, that's good. Might even get away with it. We've got only 1 ghost left over here. And it's killing a turret slowly and meticulously. There are 2 nukes, but for the time being no nuke is being launched. And this base is really getting back into stride, and air units are being built. And that's good because they tend to detract a large part of Berg's army. So Berg rounding up the main base in, well, not record speed, but just slowly and meticulously. And here comes the marine train with some nukes and goes. There is 1 nuke left, that's good. But apparently it's not going to be used. These marines just stim in there and kill everything. That's pretty much the game. Oh, and 1 last nuke for good measure. There it goes. And another one. And that's the base. So, there you go. Berg's got this game well under control, and that is the GG. So, let's talk shop here and see where things are going. The capture has been reinstated in the voting screen. That must mean there is some kind of voting thing going on where 1 player got an exorbitant amount of votes. Got a lot of upgrades from Pineapple Cactus, Toothpick Cactus, Prism Cactus, more about that next week. Or have we got a game of them? I must have a game of them somewhere. Yes, I've got one. Oh, sorry, I was a bit hasty with that. Before looking at the scores, I must cast you this one game. It's Pineapple Cactus versus Prism Cactus. And after that, there is 1 more regular game before we head back to the top of the leaderboard and show you what the latest developments in that area are like. So, Pineapple Cactus is starting out with a very quick lair. And Prism Cactus is going for the Forge Fast Expand, which is, or has become, the de facto standard opening in PV whatever. So the Protoss learning to Forge Fast Expand. That's good, I think. And what's going to happen with this lair, I think with the Hydra Den, is going to be Lurkers. Yeah, there we go. So the good thing about Lurkers is they can do quite a bit of damage. The bad thing is if the enemy's gone Forge Fast Expand, there is a detection already. That said, the 3rd is up for grabs and completely undefended, so that might be a nice play, and another base for Protoss as well. Wow. Protoss though hasn't really got any, has got mobile detection, or at least the possibility. But for the time being, it's not using it. And whoa, look at this macro go. This is really like watching Proxy or the Cutest. That's really something. And of course the Corsair, and the Corsair is dead. Wow. Prism Cactus is really getting into full macro mode, has got a lot of money and all the production in the main base, like the Cutest did. That might be remedied though, so that's okay. The Observer is coming over to have a look at these Lurkers, and then this is quite an impregnable fortress. Only 3 Zerg bases versus 5 Protoss bases is not really going to work in the long run, I think. And those might be cannons, or no, it's not a cannon, it's some kind of tech building. What is it though? So more Corsairs coming over, and it's going to be a fleet beacon. Wow, and another Robobay. So Prism Cactus is really going to play full Sauron Protoss, it must be called. And a lot of Zerglings taking the base, doing something about the goons. That's good, but there are so many Dragoons and a shuttle with a Reaver. You can see that Prism Cactus is not going to sit on his hand for too long. It's got a huge army and it's going to use it. And let's look at the upgrades. Upgrade-wise, it's okay. Storm's prepping, and Prism Cactus is going to have a lot of tools at its disposal to kill the enemy. This though is an interesting setup to try and break, but there is a carrier and a shuttle with a Reaver in it and a lot of gateway units, and the enemy army is basically non-existent, consisting of only one Zergling, or 3 Zerglings or something, and 2 Hydras, so yeah. Prism Cactus not being the most efficient, but has got a lot of forces and has got Dark High Templar with Storm. Zerg's got a lot of upgrades, but has got no army, so that's a bit of a shame. And although Prism is throwing away an atrocious amount of units, a nice Storm on the Lurker, and here comes the army, 100 supply and more. Storm's going off, we've got an Archon, we've got 2 carriers, we've got shuttles with Reavers, and Prism Cactus appears to be in a very good shape to be a serious contender for one of the top slots someday. And that pretty much was the game. No, is there going to be a drone, but the Observer is on top of it already. And that was the game. Pineapple Cactus without money, leaving the game. Wow, very well done. So, last game of the regular guys, I must say, is Simplicity versus IfBot, and those are 2 very low-ranked bots as of yet, but Simplicity is pretty new, so I thought, well, let's check out what its capabilities are at this moment. For the time being, it's going for a spawning pool with a handful of drones, and a creep colony, and the Zerglings do kill the scouting probe, and the creep colony morphs into a sunken, and another hatchery, I think. So, one base play, and IfBot is going to mull about with a lot of workers. Is there any mining going on? Yes, there is still, but the worker micro could be a little bit better. Bunker with a handful of marines in it, and some spare is going to be okay for the moment. So, Simplicity is building a lot of Zerglings, of 2 hatcheries. That's pretty good, lots of money to spare, and extra money is going to be sunk into another hatchery. The Zerglings are going to scout, not very quickly, but they are scouting. Oh, and now a small contingent of marines is making its way over. While gas is being mined, that's always a good sign. Simplicity's mining gas too. Is there Zergling speed? No, there isn't. So it's a little bit of a wait what's going to happen, and this must be some kind of a tech building. So Marines have headed back home. Army-wise, IfBot seems to have the upper hand right now, but with the natural started, it could... Oh, it gets completely overrun, and now it's a bunker with a firebat, and the firebat is doing so much damage, so... oh, and bunker repair. That's pretty good for IfBot for a new bot. And medics with firebats and stim. Wow, that's going to be a cruel combination. Scouting SUVs being denied entrance, and a natural base for Simplicity. So Simplicity is looking to tech up quite quickly. Wow, got a lot of hatches and is macroing okayly, so that is good. And IfBot is just going to build units of 1-2 barracks and building the occasional depot. Hopefully, because it's almost supply blocked. Yes, here comes the depot right to supply before it's completely blocked. And has got quite a potent army. Could have had more medics, but with 3 medics, that's a lot of bio, and the army of Simplicity is moving over to this base, I think with a view to claim it for itself, but it's going to be pretty ugly. Oh, and IfBot doesn't really have the stomach and is going to lose some medics or not. No, the retreat is okay. But Simplicity established a 3rd, and it's still building, but it will be there eventually, and there is going to be a hive and another lair, because you can never have enough high-level hatcheries. So now got a Lurker as well, upgrade-wise, Zergling speed, Hydra range, Overlord speed. Lurker is done, that's good. There is a comsat, only 1. And a turret as well. More drones, and IfBot's only got 15-14 workers, that's not really a lot, and is not building a natural. Is this SCV going to do anything, or just going to scout? And you can see Simplicity's army is now bigger than IfBot's. And that's no surprise, because the economy approximately is 3 or 4 times as big. Worker transfer, always nice to see, and here comes the Zerg army. Let's see how it's going to face. The Lurker burrowing in full face of the bunker. Is there going to be a scan? There is going to be a scan. Some zombies overhead. The Lurker dies, and the natural is going to be constructed. So, if the scans don't run out, the scans, we need another scan because there are so many Marines on top of the... Oh god, this is going to be such... It was such a massacre. These Lurkers really doing all the damage. Oh well, if you're out of scans, what can you do? So this bunker and this one fire bat's still holding strong, but it's not going to work. The army difference is 41-1, and now it's going to be another base with another hatchery for Simplicity, and Simplicity actually doing rather well for a new bot, although a large proportion of the army is still stuck in the natural. There are a lot of buildings and tech buildings, and yes, well, that's pretty well done. The natural is under attack, and mining almost stopped at ifbots. So the question is, oh, here comes the army. It's not, yeah, there it comes. So 60 army supply is going to overrun 0 army supply, and these workers of ifbots, oh, there are 3 Marines, worth 3 Marines. It's going to be over pretty damn quick. And that was the game. So Simplicity is not really the quickest, but it has got a lot of tricks up its sleeve. And if it gets faster, it will be a decent opponent. And now the entire army is pulling back. That's a huge army. Look at the macro of Simplicity. That's not a simple thing to do at all, especially not for a newcomer. And ifbot is being erased from the map. GG. So, let me, and this was another recommendation, but we're getting into macro bot territory. This is about the top slots again. So, let's have a small look at what the leaderboard actually looks like at this moment. We have got, big surprise, Krasi0 back on top again, and almost beating the Cutest by 100 points, and then it's Banana Brain, TSM Random and Purple Wave, then Ironbot, Cherry Pie, Killa Bot, but really, oh dear, don't do that reset thing, it's Krasi0, the Cutest and the rest, because that's almost, well, that's 70 points, and this is 80, 50, 85 points. So this really is the top 3, and Purple Wave, I would say, is going to have to fight pretty hard this game to make anything happen against Krasi0. Krasi0 is back again, and we've got some games of Krasi0 versus the Cutest, so you are bound to going to find out how that is going to, how that was done, how Krasi0 retook the top spot from the Cutest again. And Krasi0 now with another SimCity, which is a little bit, oh, it's right on time. Here comes the scouting probe, not coming to get in, and this SimCity of this wall is a lot better than we saw Krasi0 do earlier. Might have built a bunker over here just for good measure, but this is rather more safe versus Zealot, so it's okay. Now this Marine did a little bit of damage, but then got killed. 2 Zealots are quite enough to handle it. This poor SUV is stuck outside, that's very unfortunate. But there are 2 factories flashing, that means unit production. And Purple Wave is just not going to get in, and there is 1 tank on the high ground. Is there going to be a siege? Yeah, there is siege mode. So Krasi0 in an okay position, doing a lot of damage already with 1 tank. And the vultures are just waiting to pounce on the map, laying all their delicious mines. Are there mines yet? No, there aren't any mines yet, so that's going to take a while. But Krasi0 now with 3 tanks is moving down the ramp, and earlier it would try and move out a little bit too soon, and then it would get overrun, the push would get stifled, and well, the production at home wouldn't be at capacity to hold any kind of decent enemy counter push. Now the siege tanks though, we've got 4 of them with supporting units and SCVs for repair. The vultures are venturing out a little bit far, but you can see some kind of a leapfrog with these tanks going on. 1 tank at the rear, 2 tanks at the rear, cage siege, these 3 at the front, and then the last one is going to unsiege. So this is really the next level TVX, where a couple of tanks just leapfrog across the map. Taking bridges is always going to be difficult, but so is holding bridges with gateway units, and although Purple Wave's got 3 bases and is building production as fast as it can, it's still got a very nasty Terran push coming at it, and the question is, will it be able to hold? Krasi0 now taking its sweet time with taking the natural, but it can get so much done off one base. And now blocking the bridge with this one tank. And the vultures, the tank has crossed the bridge. So more tanks coming, and will Purple Wave commit? Purple Wave will not commit as of yet. And that will result in a handful of dead goons, and Krasi0 solidifying its hold on this choke, and there are going to be more tanks. You can see a small trail of mines. No natural still, all of one base. That's pretty ballsy, because the Protoss has got 3, but you can see how hard it is for Protoss to reach it, because they have to wade up through the mines, through the vultures to touch the tanks. And right now there are so many tanks, and if this area over here gets cut off, although there is soon going to be some production over here, the Protoss army is absolutely puny compared to the Terran army, and now the tanks are closing the distance with this beautiful leapfrog. Oh dear, the tanks are just so good, and the vultures are hugging them so tightly. There isn't... oh well, the tank sort of does get damaged, but immediately repaired, and these vultures in a jiffy are in among the workers. And now the tanks are setting up shop in the natural, ranging the nexus, and this is not going to end well for Protoss, I can tell you that. And Krasi0 is trying to do all of this, or is actually doing all of this, off one base. That's so very ballsy, keeping his money down perfectly, and now has got a 70 supply army all of one base, and that is because it lost so little. There is one carrier, and that might be a little bit of a snag, but there is absolutely 0 anti-air in this entire army. But with one interceptor, it's going to take quite a while to do something about this. Oh, 2 interceptors now, that's good. And immediately Krasi0 is building turrets, at least 1. So, yeah, there we go. How many interceptors do you need to... oh, we've got 2 carriers now. Is this going to be a comeback? Krasi0 still on one base, the main is getting low. And there is, as of yet, only 1 turret over here. Where are the carriers? There are 2 carriers, a handful of goons still, and Krasi0 still got to make his way up the ramp. The Stargate is at the 3rd base. Is that 3rd base going to be the liberating affair of this entire setup? And now the interceptors are overhead. There is a Wraith, 1 Wraith, and nothing much more, and one Goliath. There are Goliaths going to be sent over as well. Still no natural for Krasi0, and I think that's a big error. But the carriers are doing a lot of damage, but the goons are really taking a lot of damage. And the carriers, how many carriers are there? We've got 1, 2, taking on the Wraith just microing right out of range, and with such a small handful of Goliaths. These carriers, there are 3 now, they could just make things work, but Krasi0, known Krasi0, if it spots anti-air or air units, it will build a lot of Goliaths, and there is the natural, and that's right on time, because the main is right out of mineral patches. So Krasi0, so close. There are still 2 carriers, there must be a 3rd up here. And it's going to get shot, so the carrier micro of Purple Wave isn't the best. This carrier is taking a lot of damage and not doing enough damage to this 1 Goliath. 2 carriers down below here can kill quite a number of Goliaths. That's going to be good. This carrier over here, they ought to be in a pack. So many interceptors going down, but there is income from this 3rd base still, and Krasi0's army is plummeting. There are 3 carriers now, they're doing a tremendous lot of damage, and these Goliaths, they can't really micro. The carriers, though, are getting pretty low. Is there going to be a 4th? No, there isn't. So these 3 carriers are going to be all... oh, there is a 4th one! There is a 4th one, 4 carriers, and the Goliaths' numbers are down. There is a goon in amongst them, and that's going to be pretty painful. The carriers, we've got 5 carriers now. Is Purple Wave going to bring this back with 5 carriers, of which 3 are badly wounded? Oh, there is a thingy, a Stargate here as well, and Purple Wave is surely not going to bring this back from the brink of death. There are a lot of siege tanks. There are only 3, 4, 5, 6 Goliaths, and that's not enough. Where are the carriers? The carriers are here, and Purple Wave must be taking another base. And will this be a safe place with this dropship overhead? I don't know. There isn't enough money for a Nexus either. There will be soon. Is there going to be another carrier? A little bit of base is going to be rebuilt here, and the natural is going to be retaken. The carriers are in the middle of the map, but I fear this is giving Krasi0 way too much time. Krasi0 though is stuck on one base, and if Protoss will ever make two, oh, this Vulture though doing a lot of damage, and there is absolutely zero ground army. Here come the carriers though, and I fear Krasi0's got more than enough Goliaths to beat them back. A couple of turrets as well in the natural, and you can see these carriers are fighting for what they are worth, but I think that the upgrades of Krasi0, they've got +1 and a +1 ground armor starting as well. +2 damage for the interceptors is done, and you can see how low these carriers are. The carriers taking a lot of damage, the interceptors can't make it work. 1 carrier, 2 carrier, 3 carriers fall from the sky, and now there is only 1 badly damaged one, and it should not do that. Oh dear, here it goes. The Vultures are shutting down the natural, and oh, there are Goliaths in the main, in the new main as well, and this game goes to Krasi0. Krasi0 foregoing any kind of macro, doing a brilliant leapfrog push of 1 base, and then just beating back the carriers with the skin of its teeth and a handful of Goliaths is very well done, and that was a very tight game. It won't take Purple Wave, or I can't say how much it will take Purple Wave to try and beat this kind of Krasi0 play, but it was pretty close. And this is a dead carrier, so yeah, GG coming up. So next game is Purple Swarm versus TCMU Protoss, and that was another recommendation, so I thought, well, let's throw it in there, and I'll have to keep an eye on the time. What's the time? I don't know. I'm just not going to bother this time. So Purple Swarm, what are you going to do? Going to start out with a hatch first, which seems to be the standard for Zerg play, and this is a nice sim city with 2 cannons and lots of economic activity at the hands of TCMU Protoss. Then we've got this spawning pool and a lot of drones for Purple Swarm, worker transfer, very well done, lots of gas going to be harvested, and TCMU Protoss going for a lot of probes, suspecting any kind of division. Zerg in play, 3rd base mineral only for Purple Swarm, looking good. Very quick lair, lots of workers, and TCMU, what's it going to do really? Because it's going to take a while before it can actually venture out on the map with only 1 gateway, and that's giving Zerg a lot of time. And there is something about giving Zergs a lot of time when they've got map control, which doesn't really increase your chances of taking the game later on. Now though, a handful of Zealots is chasing back the Zerglings, but with a muta overhead, the chances of the Zerglings increase dramatically. So more mutas coming up. Well done. No 4th base for Zerg yet. There is a Corsair though, and well, 1 versus 4 is not really the best of odds. 1 versus 5 makes it even worse. And now the mutas are coming in to harass some more. Going to find a probe. There it goes. 2 cannons in the main. That's pretty well done. 1 is going to be microed. No, micro. The micro could be a little bit better though. And TCMU is holding on tight, has got this base well fortified, throwing up another cannon, and with another Corsair can fend off Zerg a little bit better. But these Zerg bases have not been touched yet, and there is quite a considerable Zerg air force. TCMU Protoss has got a lot of infrastructure, but there we go, here come the gateways and Templar tech and all kinds of goodies, and there is no 4th base yet for Zerg. That's strange because there is a lot of money, and it could have. Is it going to double? It should just double expand now. It's just going for 1 expand, and this one is getting recalled as it reaches the site for another base. So the status quo is still there. TCMU is going to be okay. There is going to be an Archon though, and that can be problematic for large numbers of mutas. And the Zealot core is pretty strong, so that's the 5th base, and TCMU really ought to make something work now. Has got to kill a base, do a lot of damage, win a battle, but the Protoss army of Purple Swarm is really on top of things. Couple of Scourge taking another Corsair in an exchange. That's good. 4th base up. 5th base nearly done. Worker-wise, Purple Swarm could be a little bit better. But with that many hatcheries... Oh, and immediately Corsair gets overrun. That's pretty good. The Zealots, though, enter the natural, and although there is one sunken, they are going to do quite a bit of damage, especially with more friends coming in for the fun. More Zealots hitting the 5th. That's good as well. The Mutas will have to be brought back home, and now, of course, we'll kill the Zealots, but that is what TSMU needed. TSMU could do with a 3rd, though, because the army, although it's pretty good, supply-wise, it's very low value combat-wise. It's a lot of Zealots, and that's generally not the best. The Mutas are coming back, and they kill the Zealots, are going to save these 2 bases. In the way, oh, this combination of Zergling, of Zealot and Muta is going to be pretty painful to kill. But there you go, not enough static defense, not enough ground army, and a TSMU can do quite a bit of damage. The Muta count, though, is growing ever stronger, and with these, well, micro Mutas, every little bit of damage they take is going to be distributed, so the regenerative capacity of 20 Mutas is about 20 HP per second, or per regeneration cycle. I think it's a little bit longer than a second, but if you've got 100 Mutas, they can basically regenerate 1 Muta in every regeneration cycle. So TSMU now under a lot of pressure, and although the Corsair is doing its utmost, there is no Archon, and is there Storm? There is no Storm, so it will have to be made into an Archon. And although the Observer's got things well under control, Purple Swarm is playing this brilliantly. There is a decent Protoss army out on the map, but it's now going to hit this colony over here. And the natural has been depopulated. The main, though, is going to be bereft of workers relatively quickly, and that means with only 15 workers left, that TSMU Protoss will have not much of an economy in this game anymore. No 3rd base yet, but 2 bases killed by the Protoss army as well, and 1 more Muta, and the Muta is suicidal, so dead. So Protoss can still win this, because there is no ground army, and I think this ground army of Protoss can, especially with all the Zealots, it can just overrun these 3 Zerg bases without much resistance, and these Mutas will have a devil of a job killing it. And here comes TSMU in a last effort. Oh, and TSMU has re-established the main, immediately throwing up another cannon, and is right on top of the natural. The hive is being engaged, but now ignored. The Zealots are making their way up the ramp into the worker lines. Here comes an Archon to deal with the last Mutas, and TSMU is fighting this brilliantly, and I don't know why. Yes, there we go. This Archon is so hyper-aggressive versus anything flying. And then again, these Zerg flying things are so juicy and lightly armored. It would be a joy to play Archon in a matchup like this. We've got a big fat shield, and if these Mutas... Oh, these Mutas are taking such a pounding. There goes another one. And... yes, got one. And the last one. Ooh, and another one. So this is a brilliant game of tag this Archon is playing, and meanwhile the Zealots are killing all the buildings on the ground. And another. Wow. Mutas meanwhile taking down this base over here, but I fear that there is not enough DPS in them, and TSMU has got 1 base mining still. And this another base race is going to be won by Protoss, because Protoss has got a huge amount of buildings which are taking a long time to kill, and I've got a huge amount of DPS to kill a relatively small amount of Zerg buildings. So there we go. Purple Swarm fought a good fight, but is now going to be wiped off the map. And that's the GG, as they say. So, let's have another one. It's Purple Wave versus Banana Brain. And right now we've got Krasi0, the Master Terran on top, behind that the Cutest, and then Purple Wave, Banana Brain, the 2, how should we call it, the Challenger Protosses. And what are they going to do this game? Banana Brain starting out with a 2-gate, and Purple Wave starting out with a 1-gate with a Cyber Core. So here come some Zealots, and you can see that Purple Wave is on the back foot, and it's banking on a goon to come and help. The scouting probe is killed, and now it will be 2 zealots with 1 goon versus 4 zealots. And this goon will have to do a lot of good micro to make things work. He is about to kill its first zergling, zealot, and has got a lot of shields left. So meanwhile probes are being engaged, and that's not good, because Purple Wave's only got 13 probes to 16 of Banana Brain. Banana Brain behind this has built a cyber core of its own. So Banana Brain, I think, is going to get a build all a win. Lots of probes are going down, only 7 probes left, and some of them aren't even mining. But Purple Wave with the shield battery brings the game back. That would be, there is double the amount of workers for Banana Brain, so you'll have to have a pretty good fight now to get anything done this game. But there is, I think, a small army lead for Purple Wave. There are 2 goons. Oh dear, here we go. No, there is no army lead at all. And upgrade wise, both of them have got, well, Purple Wave's got range now, but it's on the back foot because its zealot is badly damaged than that of Banana Brain's. And although Purple Wave is rebuilding workers, there is a natural up and running, or natural started for Banana Brain already. Banana Brain is pursuing the goons, and there is a shield battery, and the shield battery is day up. So Purple Wave doesn't dare fight anymore. And there we go. Purple Wave with the rallies is trying to fight it off and is going to save the base again, but at what cost? The armies are equal again, but Banana Brain has got a worker lead and has got 1 more base. Although Purple Wave just is hanging on with sheer tenacity, I think that Banana Brain has got the much better position, has got a lot more tech already, and is just going to pump out more and more goons. That's the 3rd and 4th gateway, while there are still only 2 in the corner of Purple Waves, and Purple Wave rebuilt its battery and is now going with 3 badly damaged goons and no further upgrades to try and get a piece of Banana Brain. But obviously that's not going to work. The numbers will be superior and will get superiorer in the near future. And here goes the 3rd base, and Purple Wave hasn't even gotten natural yet, so either there's going to be some kind of brilliant Reaver play or a DT shenanigan. Otherwise, oh dear, and now losing units in the retreat as well. That's not good at all. Banana Brain playing this brilliantly, reinforcing the natural, so making it harder for any kind of Reaver play or DT run by. Are there? Yes, there will be cannons in the main as well, and the 3rd will be up momentarily. And although Purple Wave is fighting pretty well in this rearguard action, it's now got a Reaver, which will help immensely, especially versus Zealots. There we go, Reaver doing lots of damage, and you can see Purple Wave sort of hanging on, but should really group his army better, and then the Reaver can kill all the Zealots, and perhaps a couple of goons as well. Oh, there is a Reaver for Banana Brain as well. This is pretty ballsy. We've got a Reaver shootout, and this is... I'll play this at normal speed because it's going to be so epic. 1 shot, and the supporting units are dead. And now it will all be down to Reaver Micro. And the goon dies. Oh, god, golly. The Reaver for Banana Brain is so very brave, and is going to be shot to pieces by 2 simultaneous explosions of this Reaver pair, and this Reaver pair just can one-shot units at this point, and you can see Purple Wave's got the army lead for some reason, and has also built a natural. Wow, natural will be done about the same time as Banana Brain's 4th, and it's really hard to see why Banana Brain isn't really running away with this game. It has had the lead for so long. It's got more than double the amount of eco, and these Reavers. These Reavers, these 2-3 Reavers are going to do such an ungodly amount of damage. Some observers overhead don't really matter, but this slow death tank crawl thing army division is going to be very, very hard to fight, and approaching the Protoss base slowly but very surely, and you can see the Zealots taking a crap load of damage, and now the Zealots are gone, and Every zealot that hits the battlefield gets 2 scarabs in its face and then keels over. These goons ought to hug the reavers a little bit more closely. Oh, and some beautiful scarab hits. Oh, and one on the reaver as well. Oh, and a blast back from Banana Brain, but the reaver kills it just in time. And then the zealot dies as well. Purple Wave's got the army lead in some weird kind of way and now has set up a 3rd base as well. Natural's up and running just as well because the main is practically out. Banana Brain taking more bases, but Banana Brain appears to be unable to win any kind of fight, and now there are 4 reavers approaching the natural. There is a High Templar. Is there Storm? Yes, there is Storm. There is another reaver. But Purple Wave just seems to be better at winning battles. And although these goons, they are way ahead of these reavers, and the reavers don't really catch up as well as they could, you can see the damage potential in these 4 reavers. They do a lot of over damage, but they get the job done somehow, somewhere. Boom, blasting all those poor zealots down to hell. They have to face an uphill battle now, but oh, just doing so much damage. God, Banana Brain's really suffering at this point, even despite having a lot. Oh, and the reaver dies as well. Storm, will there be Storm? Please cast a Storm. You've got the range, but you die, and Banana Brain's got the Arbiter now, and that's good, which will make it a little bit harder to target the cloaked units, but there is an Observer as well. And although the supporting units are all gone, the reavers have such a damage. Oh, the reavers are running! The reavers, the bloody reavers are running. Where is the Observer? The Observer is ahead of the reavers. The reavers are running and the reavers are dying, and Purple Wave had this battle down in its favor, but oh dear, it's throwing it away now with running the reavers. Oh god, where is it going? It's... oh, this is such a tragic sight. And Purple Wave's still in this game. With the small army, worker numbers have equalized. Banana Brain still got the economic advantage, has got the tech advantage with the Arbiter. And now these reavers of Purple Waves are out in the middle and there is nothing happening over there, so that's not working. And Purple Wave is going to have to fight. Oh, nice Storm there, but not enough to back it up. Banana Brain is now hitting the infrastructure of Purple Waves, and Purple Wave is defending. It is defending, but it's not really... well, it's holding for the time being. But there are zealots in among the workers, and the worker count is dropping precipitously, and so it will be 1 base versus the map. And Banana Brain, despite losing a lot of battles, may be in for a victory. The reavers of Purple Waves are doing such good work. Unfortunately, the Observer cover is just not there, and this Arbiter with all the units cloaked beneath it. Oh, and the Storms are pretty good, zoning out the fighting units. You can see where this is going, can't you? There is 1 base mining, and units are streaming in from every which way, and the 3rd is down. Banana Brain, with a very tight victory, is going after this match, oh, with a vengeance. And now it is 30 versus 70 workers. The army supply of Purple Wave is entirely gone. It's just one goon somewhere, or a zealot, or 2 observers. I don't know what it is. The income is 0, and that's the good game. Banana Brain with a brilliant victory over Purple Wave. So, actually, let's see how it's going to fare versus the Grand Master. And there is a little bit of a build-up in this broadcast, so I started out with all the recommendations and the developments of the newer bots, and then slowly making my way up to the top. TSC Banana Brain, and then of course Purple Wave, and at the last we've got the 2 heroes of today are going to be the Cutest and Krasi0 again, and I must apologize beforehand because I don't have a replay of the Cutest and Krasi0 selected just yet. But that will be remedied in a couple of seconds, a moment later. So, Krasi0 not really going to war versus Banana Brain, has got 1 bunker, and a lot of zealots coming in, and the Marines are firing for what they're worth. A lot of SCVs are going to go down. 4 zealots now going after the bunker, after the workers, and the worker count of Krasi0 is severely depressed. But Krasi0 holds. Lots of mining time lost, and Banana Brain doing a lot of good for itself. Now it's got 2 gates with a spinning cyber core, which will mean range. And I think that this scouting SCV is not going to be long for this world. It's going to get right, not out of there, but killed instead. So Krasi0 with the 1 factory. And if it's going to do this 1 base push we saw do earlier, it's going to have to do it pretty well, because the worker numbers are getting throttled again. And now it looks like Krasi0 has got some grasp of the high ground. Look at this beautiful tank position. That is absolutely magnificent. Krasi0 is defending so well, and of course it's had to. It's had to learn to defend versus the aggression of Banana Brain, of Purple Wave, but most of all the Cutest. And ew, 1 tank gets sniped, but the goons take a little death toll with them as well. Krasi0 with a faster natural, and the tank is... where's the tank going? So Krasi0 with a very tiny army. 1 more tank, worker transfer, all there. Natural mineral only taken by Protoss, and now Protoss is moving out with an army that's more than double the size of Krasi0's. Krasi0 hasn't got the minefield yet. Are there mines? Mines still being researched. So Protoss has got an opportunity to do a lot of damage. This tank is going to die, it's too far out. This bunker is going to do a lot of damage. Workers are going to be killed, but this tank on the high ground is going to lay down the law on these poor dragoons on the low ground. It is a butchery, and now Krasi0 is on even terms army-wise with the Protoss. Protoss though has got another base up, which is good, but then again you are going to have to fight pretty hard when Krasi0 starts reinforcing its base, building a lot of turrets and placing the occasional siege tank. We've got 1-2 comsats now, which will work in Krasi0's favor. This 1 tank on the high ground can and will do a lot of damage. These observers though are expertly placed, and that's really beautiful. We've got 1 shuttle, I can't see what's in it, so we'll have to wait for that. The vultures though, now with speed, are leading this army off on a wild tangent. This one's going to get cornered and killed, and this one is going to get killed as well, so that's a pity. And now the entire wrath of the Protoss army. Oh, and another Zealot bomb on this tank over here, and this is so beautifully done. Krasi0 defending like a madman, but ought to have a minefield right in front here. It would save so many units, and then Krasi0 could think about taking a third. Lots of turrets all over the place. Krasi0 in an okay position, but it has to be really careful not to get out macroed immediately, because that's the 4th base for Banana Brain, and Banana Brain is fighting hard, but this kind of encounter with a Zealot versus a Vulture, it just cannot win, and this base is under attack once again. So the entire army is moving over, with a Reaver crawling over as well. Going to take forever. Krasi0 taking the mineral only, and for a Terran that is not the best base to take, because you are going to need gas. And Krasi0 now demolishing the power generators to have access to a little bit more building space, and perhaps a cannon and turret emplacement over here. That would be so gosu if Krasi0 were to build a defensive position there, because with 3 tanks here, 3 tanks there, a couple of turrets, as a Protoss ground army, you've got no chance at all to break through here. Krasi0 playing this beautifully now with a good minefield, but needs another base, needs another couple of bases, and the question is, with this much gateway stuff going about, where is it going to take the 3rd base? And here you see what an effective minefield with a couple of tanks can do. 0 units lost, perhaps 1 or 2 vultures, but the tanks and the mines just shut everything down completely decisively, and then the Wraith can have a go at the Observer and the Shuttle, precluding any kind of future attacks. But the other main, with the natural and the mineral only, is already populated by Banana Brain, and Krasi0 still stuck-ish on the main, the natural, and its mineral only. So the question will be, where is Krasi0 going to get that 3rd base from, the 3rd gas? And it could take this island map. That would be relatively safe. You could defend that with a handful of Goliaths, and well, mines would be a little bit dangerous with all these SCVs about, but that might be one of the tricks. And I don't know that these, I don't think actually that these Reavers without shuttles are going to do as well versus Terran as they're going to do versus Protoss earlier. And now all the Zealots, they just evaporate in the minefield. Krasi0 replace that minefield entirely, and then the tanks in the rear, although there even weren't siege, we've got 2 on the high ground now. That's very, very brilliant. Oh, and it does. So Protoss, although it's got a huge production capacity, is sinking a lot of units in here. Krasi0's base, though, here is not going to be long for this world. It's shut down by a lot of high-tech units, and that's really the problem, because Krasi0's main is nearly out. Although it's got a decent amount of tanks, it's still got to make its way over. And what would be a viable ploy, and you need some higher level analysis for that, is to push from your own natural in the direction of the enemy natural, and by that way you could protect this base over here. A couple of tanks, and this is your front, so that would be oh, a Matrix Wraith. How pro is that? And the Reaver gets killed, although it was closed, and Krasi0 is now making its way over slowly, meticulously towards the enemy main. There is no production here yet, and that's really something that Banana Brain could improve upon, because Banana Brain's got quite a lot of money, quite a bit of income, but once this area over here gets surrounded by siege tanks, your entire production is camped, and here come the siege tanks. The Zealots, there is no minefield, so Krasi0 is going to lose a handful of units trying to set up shop here, but in the end it will be able to. Oh, and there it is. It's going for the choke immediately, and immediately with the floating buildings ranging the mineral only, taking out some of the gas of this production, and the Arbiter is going to die as well. All these bases of Protoss here right now don't mean a thing, because with gateway units and a ground-based attack, you are never ever going to have much fun with all these tanks here on the low ground, floating buildings, 2 science vessels, and the only thing lacking for Krasi0 now is a handful of Goliaths, so it won't get pestered as much by this shuttle. And ooh, that was a really nice Reaver shot. One more, yes, there it goes, and then the Reaver goes down. So these High Templar have got a devil of a job to cast a decent storm. These vultures, they really shield off the tanks, and the tanks are doing such a lot of damage. The natural, or the mineral only, is going to fall. The natural's in grave peril. It's almost mined out, so it doesn't really matter, but still no production at this end of the map. Krasi0 has now got its 3rd gas, and also taking the middle base. That's pretty ballsy, but hey, what can you do? So I'm going to speed it up just a notch again, and you can see Krasi0 just leapfrogging its way forward. The pathing is excellent. It's really next level Terran micro what you see here, and it's so beautiful to watch. And for the Protoss bots, it's going to be pretty hard to fight that off. You can see Banana Brain still relying on a huge gateway army, and although the macro is better than Krasi0's, in a ground versus ground-based army, you've got these tanks and vultures to contend with, and at the moment that combination is just too strong for any Protoss, although we haven't seen the Cutest yet, but for Purple Wave and Banana Brain, I should say, Krasi0 is playing this game masterly once more, and it always did so, but it's still improved, and that's so very beautiful. 2 tanks on the high ground, turrets, mines all over the place. It is a veritable nightmare to try and move across the map without Krasi0 noticing it, and Krasi0 taking more bases all of the time. So Krasi0 getting into its stride, and still all the production is over here, while this should have been marked a lost zone ages ago, and the production should have been rebuilt over here. There is the money for Banana Brain, but every unit being built over here is basically lost. There are so many tanks on the low ground, and even making their way up the high ground now, that is going to be a lost cause to build anything in the main. So let's see if there is going to be any kind of a restart taking place here. 2 vultures doing a probicide of unknown scale, and still Banana Brain is building every unit here in the old main. even while there is 100 supply Terran army rolling up and doing all the damage it can. The shuttles getting killed, the zealots are getting soaked up by the tank fire, and even now there is not a single gateway over here, although there is a lot of money, and Krasi0 is re-establishing itself as the #1 bot, taking the enemy natural just for good measure. That's quite BM, but if you can, hey, why not? Even an irradiate on the zealot, and although these gateways are still over here, here comes the enemy, the main army of Krasi0's, and that is the game. Krasi0, the dominant factor again, is all over the map. You can see Stargates over here, Stargates over there. What was it producing? Well, infrastructure basically, because it was maxed, but it's got everything set up for, it looks like, a battlecruiser switch. We've got the Yamato, we have got, wow, we've got all the upgrades in the world. So Krasi0 in dominant form once again. So, last recommendation, it's Krasi0 vs T-Smooth random, and then we'll have to have a look at, oh sorry, I'll need to show you the game actually. T-Smooth random just rolled as a Protoss, and Krasi0 of course is not the best versus random player, but it has got such a high standard of normal play, it is very, very, very hard to stop. T-Smooth going for an early gateway push of 1 base, going for 2 gates, and this must be tech. Now going to try to make his way in. A lot of workers are getting killed again. Krasi0 losing a lot of workers, but the main thing is the main is still untouched. And that's good, you can lose a couple of workers if your main is untouched. The economy is going strong, and although the army is still 4 for some reason, another factory is going to be built at T-Smooth. Oh, the Dark. Oh, there are Dark Templar, but where are the Dark Templar? Are they waiting for a shuttle or something? I don't know. The Dark Templar got stuck for so long. Krasi0 is now bound, yes, bound to have a turret. So that's going to be a problem, and now we'll have seen the Dark Templar. So Krasi0 in an okay position, T-Smooth going for that expansion. No shuttles yet, and 2 cannons in front, that's pretty good. But still on the low ground, all the firepower is in the hands of T-Smooth. T-Smooth now with the Dark Templar going, running up to the workers. The workers are losing life as it's such a butchery, but there are too many workers, and I think in the end the bunker will hold. Krasi0's got 20, 19, 18 workers still, and although some of them are dropping, oh, another DT going straight for the bunker, going after the workers, 2 DTs, and the worker count of Krasi0 is falling precipitously. It's 14, 10, 9, 8, and Krasi0 is right out of workers and out of fighting force. The bunker is still blasting, but there are not all that many Marines in it, and the turret is still standing. Had this turret been killed, the game would have been over, but Krasi0 holds with 7 workers left, and T-Smooth got 38 and a 3rd base started. Krasi0 under a lot of pressure, and this Dark Templar just hasn't got the balls at this moment. So Krasi0 really trying to make things work, scraping by 8 workers now, and T-Smooth, what's it going to do? It's going to build stuff, I believe. And these Dark Templars have got some weird micro error, they just can't make this. They can't round this area over here, they are stuck somehow, so that's pretty strange. But I think in the end they will be able to move out for some reason and then get stuff done. Again, 1 tank, 1 turret, and 4 Dark Templars. Another SCV getting killed, and there aren't all that many. Oh, there are only 2 Marines in there, and T-Smooth breaking the front. Last Marine dying. The turret is going to fall, and there is just 1 tank left. There is 1 comsat, and 2 more turrets over here. The tank is under attack. It should move into this area over here, but it's not. It's being trailed by this Dark Templar, and the Dark Templar, oh, the tank is getting caught. It's like Pac-Man, and it dies, and now we've got 4 Dark Templar and only 1 turret, but no fighting units, and that is going to be the game. T-Smooth with a brilliant bit of pressure, taking a game off Krasi0. That's pretty well done. And wow, that is the game. Krasi0 leaving. That's the GG. And now we're going to have to pick some replays by hand, because someone forgot to pick a game versus the Cutest. And we'll take the we'll take the most recent one, watched in OpenBW, and take a longer one. So we've got two. Let's pause this one for the time being and look at this one first. So, little reminder, we've got updates all over the place. Crazy, oh God, don't do that stupid thing. Lots of upgrades. Krasi0 and the Cutest update has been, well, August the 6th, so has been a while. But Krasi0's update has been from a couple of days ago, from this week. So that is all looking very good. So Krasi0 is starting as the yellow Terran in the top left, and in the bottom left we've got the Cutest. The Cutest, the master of Protoss, still the most dominant player from Aya, and it's always a pleasure to watch any kind of game it plays. So starting out with a pylon and a gateway, that's a very good way to start, and Krasi0 immediately going for a war, because even if it doesn't build a war against any enemy it faces versus the Cutest, you have got to. And this base, with the main on the low ground and the natural and the rest of the map on the high ground, is quite different from anything else. So we've got this one gateway, and immediately range is starting. And is there going to be another gate? Must be, I would say. This is going to be a goon, and the goon can't get in, so it's going to wait. And another one, and the natural started, so the Cutest is going to go into macro mode right from the start. Another gateway, and going for a small contain, and ooh, the bunker doesn't seem to be all that well placed, or the high ground may have something to do with it. But now with the tank, as soon as these goons start firing, they become visible from the low ground, and this tank, although it will have a decent chance to miss, will blast a load of nastiness in their direction, and please don't interpret that the wrong way. So here come the goons, and immediately one full in the snout. Two tanks blasted, third tank coming up. Oh, and the tank is pretty ballsy, but important for Krasi0 at this point is gaining that high ground vision, and of course the barracks does help with that. It should be positioned a little bit more herely, but here come the tanks. And Krasi0 setting up shop. Here come the vultures. Have you got mines? Mines are still prepping. And important for Krasi0 is now not to lose any units. Krasi0 hasn't got a natural yet. The natural for Protoss up and running. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 gates. Third base, 4 Protoss started. And now let's get back to the fight. The vultures have all been killed. The tanks are engaging heavy dragoon fire. But the goons, in the end, they sort of melt because there are too many tanks. And Krasi0 has got to be careful not to overextend, because Protoss has got such a macro lead. It can reproduce goons almost as quick as Krasi0 can kill them at this point. Especially now that the third is up, a small work transfer is coming over, and another gateway is going to be constructed. The forge is spinning, it's making the +1 weapons. What else could it do? Krasi0 going to play the leapfrog game, which we saw earlier, and it's heading straight for the Protoss natural, taking the route over the high ground, ignoring this army, or passing it by rather, the army on the low ground, which might get interesting, and now Krasi0 knows about it. There is one tank over here, and immediately all the tanks freeze and siege, and Krasi0 is now approaching the area where it can cut off all the production in the main base of the Cutest. The Cutest army is making its way back, but it's paying a hefty price for that. Vultures are in among it, and a couple of mines, and the siege tanks are blasting as well. So the Cutest in a forced retreat, and I don't know what it's going to do. It's still got a bigger army, but it has to fight, it has to take losses, it has to clear this area over here, because once Krasi0 has got his tank army over there, it's going to be hellishly difficult to break out from it. And although it's a 3 versus 1 base situation even, Krasi0 has got a dominant position, and of course these tanks are now going to range the natural. Will more tanks come? For the time being, no. The Cutest could do something about this. Clip a couple of vultures, but important is that it needs to keep the tank count down, and now moving into the main, onto the low ground. Oh god. Krasi0 with this brilliantly executed push, vultures right in front of the tanks, and these goons. This is almost like the charge of the Light Brigade. That was gruesome. And still they are not sure whether they want to move up or down the ramp, and basically they die on the ramp, all of them. With the extended vision from the eBay and more tanks rocking up, Krasi0 still hasn't got a natural. There is a third base and now a fourth as well for the Cutest. The army of Krasi0 is still relatively small, but it's as easy as shooting goons on the low ground. Here goes the natural. All the probes die. Here goes the last defending cannon, and although the cannon does a good job versus the vultures, versus the tanks, it can't really do too much. And the Cutest has got these bases populated. It's okay, Krasi0 still only got this main base, and that's really wacky. It's got enough money for a natural or for anything, but it doesn't do so. It's really putting all its might behind this one concerted push. And the Cutest can't get out, it's still producing everything in the main base, and the map as it is greatly favors siege tank anyway, once you've control of this high ground over here. With the floating building, with the science vessel overhead, these tanks are doing a murderous job on anything down there, and the Cutest can't even get a shot in at times, and that's sad. 2 vultures depopulate this base, or only 1 vulture as it is now, taking a lot of fire from the probes, but in the end, mining at this base isn't really satisfactory for the Cutest. Now the vulture is dead, immediately 2 new ones hop over, and they can't find the entrance again, so that's a bit wacky. Krasi0 finally with the natural, with some more technology, and the Cutest is still stuck on the main base, and it can't even kill this first tank. And this first tank now being repaired, the vultures screen it off, and another tank comes right in front of it, sieges up, and this will be the end of the main base of the Cutest. This base has been shut down again. This base got 2 cannons, but there is nothing there, and the Cutest is really struggling to get anything together. If a unit's going to be built over here, it will be dead very, very quickly. Krasi0's got a 100 supply army, and well, what can you say? This is the new Cutest versus Krasi0, where Krasi0 is the aggressor, and the harassment or the run-bys of its main base war, Krasi0's main base war, are a thing of the past, and the Cutest can't get anything done. Krasi0 is not even maxed yet. It's only got 2 bases, and that could have been balanced a little bit better, but that was the game. And now the last game, it's a little bit longer one, so let's see how it's going to play out. The distance is a bit longer, so Krasi0's push will have to be just a little bit better to get out on the map. So let's see what happens. And the Cutest, of course, has not updated its bot for well, about a month, and that is a long time if your enemies are updating their bots to counter your specific play. And the real trick is to get better overall, just not to hard counter a hard counter of your previous hard counter, but to just make your level of play better and reintegrate that into your... Oh, and here we go, this proxy, I totally missed that, the proxy build with a 3rd gateway, hello, completely shut down. These zealots, they haven't got a concept of tearing down the wall to slip by, and that might be something that the Cutest could improve upon. Now building some stuff in the main base as well, and the Cutest has got a great army. Krasi's only got 2 marines. That's pretty ballsy, because once these zealots start whacking at these depots and the bunker in the barracks in earnest, it's going to be hellishly difficult to keep everything in full repair. But now with the tank, Krasi's army is starting to come together, and although the Cutest has got stuff set up in the main base as well, notably cyber core, so it will have some range units, Krasi0 has things well under control now with 2 tanks and the ramp and a wall. So Krasi0's SimCity, although not as good as the human players, is for AI purposes very, very, very hard to beat. And the Cutest has got a 50 supply army, and make no mistake about that, that's quite a lot. Making an effort to get into macro mode, because although the proxy failed, once the Cutest gets into full macro mode and it doesn't get its main contained, but here come the vultures. Are spider mines ready? Spider mines are nearly done. Oh, and Krasi0, I don't know if this is going to work. Are you going to be able to get a tank out like this? We're soon going to find out. The Cutest with the 60 supply army and the worker transfer into the natural. And this is really heavily oversaturated. That's a lot of probes over there. Krasi0 can just move a couple of tanks out, but it's not going to be easy with this setup. And the Cutest is going to have to fight. It will have to... At the moment it just considers can it win, and not really if I engage in battle will it be economically viable even if I lose more than the enemy. Because I've got 2 bases and the enemy's only got 1. Or if I kill enough tanks so the enemy won't be able to project its force on the middle of the map, will I be able to... should I pick this fight? And now the Cutest is going for it. The tanks are shielded so well, but the zealots reach them. And now a lot of zealots are getting killed, but the Cutest is breaking through, but doesn't have the heart to face these 4-5 tanks, and that's not really a lot. So if the enemy's got 6 tanks, you kill 3, you basically kill half their power, and you can... a human player would not have thought of not sacrificing this army for a second if it could mean that Krasi0 didn't get access to its own natural. So the third of the Cutest is nearly done. But Krasi0 is now out of the box and has taken control of this vitally strategic area over here with the bridges. Has got a large minefield set up already, and that's going to make it very hard for any kind of Protoss thing to just move out. And the Cutest, like all the other Protoss, is relying so heavily on this ground-based army. And versus a good Terran, it is the hardest thing to do ever. And look at all these mines. There are mines everywhere. If you're going to play pure ground-based, it's going to take these units forever to wade through all these mines, through the vultures, and by that time 1,000 supplies died to tank fire, and that's not going to work. So these vultures, they zone out the map, they zone out the goons, and these tanks, they just roll over on the high ground at the bridges, and you can see the entire strategic advantage that the Cutest had being negated by tank fire and cleverly maneuvered vultures. So this base is already taken by Protoss, but there is no production. And look at where Krasi0 is. Krasi0 is right there with the tank brigade at the choke of the natural, and although some tanks do die, this worker transfer is not going anywhere with some zealots, some vultures on its tail. The natural is now efficiently embargoed by Krasi0 with the tanks. Krasi0's got the natural up and is taking the... Yeah, that was pretty cleverly done. But is taking a third base and taking down this proxy thing as well. So although the Cutest has got more bases, there is no production here. And there are about 10 tanks with vultures setting up, blockading the natural. And you can see all these poor goons, they just die. Occasionally a vulture snuffs it, but Krasi0 at this time is just too powerful. And I feel that the Cutest will have, with these proxies and run-bys, just to take into consideration if you can attack a wall, and perhaps, and that goes for all the other Protoss as well, except for TSMU, that you've got to have some production at your colonies as well, if you are going to relieve your main base. And now the main base is already overrun. The tanks are all over this thing, and yeah, that is going to be very hard for the Cutest to break. And although the Cutest had an ELO rating of about 2,500, Krasi0 is nowhere near there. It still loses to some of the other top bots, like we saw. It's still not invulnerable, but it has beaten back the Cutest quite definitively, and it shows over here. So for all of you who submitted a couple of games to be casted, that is magnificent. Thank you very much. My thanks especially go out to all of the authors of these beautiful monsters, and I mean all of them. I like them all very much, and well, thank you for having them play on our server. So this was this week's broadcast. I hope to see you again next week. For now, I say goodbye.